When I was growing up, my local GameStop had some really cheap Game Boy games. You could buy Pokemon Yellow for about $10. It was a magical place known as the early 2000s. While everyone was enjoying the 6th generation of game consoles, none of which I had, I was rocking the Game Boy. There were 4 games I had at the time, such as the aforementioned Pokemon Yellow, Mole Mania, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. But there was one game I always thought was good until I grew up. This is Shrek Fairy Tale Freakdown. Shrek Fairy Tale Freakdown was released in 2001 for the Game Boy Color, just one of the licensed titles for the movie Shrek, and one of the many of questionable quality. The movie, don't even get me started, it was a revelation. It took fairy tale tropes and flipped them on their head, something the sequels would slowly lose. We had never seen anything like it. It was a movie for kids with adult references. For me, it felt edgy, like I wasn't supposed to be watching it, but my parents let me watch it anyway. Shrek was special. With anything special comes the grubby hands of corporations trying to milk the golden cow dry. That's exactly what they did. Enough about the movie. Shrek Fairy Tale Freakdown is a 1v1 fighter on a handheld. Psst, I don't know if you know this, the Game Boy was not good for fighting games. Look at Mortal Kombat to prove my point. Fairy Tale Freakdown looks better than any fighting game I've ever seen on the handheld, which is very few, mind you. How does it play? As well as you can imagine a handheld system from the 90s playing. Unlike Mortal Kombat, the controls are made to be simple rather than taking a complex set of moves and cutting them down to work on 2 buttons. A is punch and B is kick. The up button is jump. Normally I take issue with this, and I still do, but here I can tell they didn't have much of a choice. I find my character jumping the wrong way because I accidentally hit up and curved my thumb in the opposite direction than I wanted to go, so I fall to my doom each time. The mechanics of the game aren't great, but they're serviceable. As you play each opponent, they get tougher. By the time you get to Gingerbread Man, I think the 3rd fight, he will give you a run for your money. He requires that you not only jump, but in his direction, and to specific timing as to not be hit by his projectiles so you don't take damage. With enough dumb luck, you can spam your kicks and mix them with jumps to defeat your foes. Punches are practically useless, so stick to kicks. That's the one strategy that works, at least for me. Until you get to Thelonious. He's the only character where I could not spam kicks. I had to mix punches and kicks to knock him out. I noticed that punches seem to take more health, but don't have much reach. Kicking has reach, but doesn't do as much damage. So I guess there's a balance. Now for my experience with the game in the past at least. I beat the game and unlocked all the characters for the first time when I was about 9 or 10. I never figured out the button combination for the unlockable powers, and frankly, I'm too afraid to look them up. I also didn't realize until recording the gameplay for the video that I've always played on easy. I played through the game once on easy for the game footage you see, and then I also did a playthrough on medium. Maybe it was because I played as Fiona and she felt much better to control than Shrek, but it didn't seem to be a harder difficulty at all. Easy was plenty hard for me, to be honest. I actually beat the game faster on medium difficulty. However, I did not play the game on hard. There are just some things you don't do. I don't want that bad juju in my life. Honestly, the game gets a bad rap. It's not as awful as people say it is. It's not the worst game in the world. In my opinion, it was probably the best game they could have made for the time. Except for the soundtrack. It's a mixture of noises that resemble music, and that's probably the nicest thing I can say about it. More than anything, it's an interesting curiosity. The issue comes down to limitations of the hardware and the fact that Game Boy just isn't good for games in which you have to be deliberate and specific with your inputs. I can have just as much fun with this game as I can get infuriated by it because I was stuck at the bridge fighting Dragon for God knows how long, falling to my death in the lava below time after time after time after... Is it a good game? No, it is not. Is it one of the best 1v1 fighters on the Game Boy? Yes. But if you climb mountain and you plant your flag at the summit, at the end of the day, you're still covered in So, is it really an achievement? You'll have to excuse me. I'm gonna go take a shower.